up, everybody? It's your girl Andrea, back with a brand new video here on my YouTube channel. I am an entrepreneur, podcaster, business consultant, business strategist, creative consultant, all of the things. So today I want to come on here and really talk to you all about your career. Yes, that confusing, daunting thing that us millennials and Gen Zers are going through right now, right? So today we're going to talk all things career, my personal career journey, where I started, my entrepreneurship journey, where I am currently in my career now, all of the obstacles, all of the hurdles, all of the things. If you are a multifaceted creative, this video is for you. I know what it's like to have a bunch of ideas, to have a bunch of gifts and talents and not know what to do with them. Trust me, I know. Yeah, I have my notes here on my phone because I had a lot of jobs. But it's okay. It's okay. It's cool. You probably had a lot of jobs too, but it's fine. No judgment. Let's start with music. Let's start with my music journey. I want to say I can't even put a date or a year on it, but when I was 16, 17 years old, I really started to pursue music. I started taking music very seriously. I love R&B, I love soul, I love all of those types of genres, right? So I recorded my first song when I was like around 16, 17 years old. And that was a song that I wrote myself. I discovered that I was not only a singer, I have been singing since I was a kid, since I was a child, singing at my daddy's church, the Baptist church, okay, singing long ago when I was a kid, but also I wrote my first song and then I recorded it when I was 16, 17 years old. So not only was I a singer, but now she's a songwriter too. Okay, let me tap into this. So I recorded my first song and I thought that my music career was just going to take off because honestly, throughout my whole career journey, like even thinking as a child, in my mind, when I grew up, I'm going to be Aaliyah. I am going to be a famous R&B singer, and that has been literally my path. Everything that I've done was just subpar to music, right? But if you know anything about the music industry, then you know. But it's just been very hard to break into that industry and do things independently on a consistent basis. So I thought that my music career was just going to take off, but it didn't. It actually set me back a little while because when I recorded my first song, why did the music producer or the engineer at the studio that I went to, he decides out of nowhere that he wants to move and go to Houston and pack up all of his stuff and just go to Houston and start this whole brand new life, and he didn't give me my songs. He did not give me the recording of my songs. He did not give me the files. He didn't give me anything. So I'm sitting up here like, not us spending this money to record a song that I don't even have. Should have got when I recorded it at that studio session, but never even got the song. After that, I got a little bit discouraged, so I decided to pursue other things. Mind you, I'm still in high school, so I'm like, I gotta get on with my life. So next on my list is vlogging. Okay, I started vlogging at around 2017, 2018, and at the time, I wasn't pursuing music or anything like that. I lived a pretty normal, regular life. I was still trying to figure out my career path. I had just had a son, a child, 2 years prior to that, so I'm a new mom and I'm still trying to figure it out. My career, it was always placed on the back burner. It was something that never really I didn't care. I didn't really care about my career until now. But back then, I decided anyway, let me just vlog. I started seeing a lot of people vlogging. I was really into the beauty industry. So watching makeup tutorials and vlogs and stuff like that, I decided to get me a camera. And I picked the camera up and I just started vlogging. So I vlogged my day-to-day life, and I really began my YouTube journey in like 2018. If you go all the way down on my YouTube channel, you would see my very first video. I went to like Z Gallery or something. And why was I in Z Gallery at the time? Because I ain't had no money? I don't know, but I was there. 2018, 2019 was the time where I decided to leave that relationship, and I was really met with God. I really started developing my relationship with God. As I stated earlier, I'm a church kid. I'm a PK, but I didn't really develop a real relationship with God until this time, 2018, 2019. So once I started really developing my relationship with God, spending time with Him, I got like Bibles, and I started going to church again. I started watching all of these TD Jakes, and Pastor Mike Todd at the time was really big. I was watching a lot of those sermons, and I was just really growing my relationship and knowledge with God. So at that time, I started to develop this entrepreneurial spirit. I've always thought of like business. I always thought of, why do people buy these types of products, or why does this type of product exist, or just all of these different types of like this inquisitiveness, I would say. I always had that. Even growing up, I didn't know how to channel that. So around that time, God just started showing me like different entrepreneurial endeavors. So I think at that time as well on Instagram, that was like the boom of like all of the Black female entrepreneurs, right? So you saw a lot of Black females getting into the hair industry, starting their own hair care line and extension line, and all of the things. It was like this whole like entrepreneurial wave of Black women, and I was so engulfed in social media at the time. So I was like, you know what? Let me start me a hair care line. Mind you, she wasn't short. Okay, she didn't have her short hair, but I decided to open up my own business. I got my LLC, and my first official legal business was Diamond Extensions LLC. And I just made it up in my mind. I'm going to give me some hair. I'm going to sell it. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do that, right? But it was really an idea that was birthed from seeing somebody else do it. It wasn't really like a career thing to me. It was like a side hustle, right? So I did that for a while, only to realize I don't like hair like that. And I just cut my hair off again. And so I decided not to continue that pursuit of really like just going full force into, building this hair extension business and this and this and that. It wasn't true to me, right? It was like a hustle. And so I didn't pursue it that much. So I was like, let me focus on something else. What else does she like to do? So shortly after that, I started being exposed to the media industry. Once I came into a relationship with God, I started to realize He was the one that started to guide me. Okay, so no longer was it about me just pursuing these random things that I just thought I wanted to do. Now He started to guide me in the direction where I needed to go. So media was an industry He started to expose me to at that time. I started developing my journalism skills. I started writing. My gift and my passion to write started to come back. So I started writing articles. I started getting connected with other women who were in the media industry. And this was the multimedia industry. So it could be like media personalities, news anchors, TV personalities, journalists and journalism, and things like that. So I started getting into that, and I became a media personality. I started doing interviews in like 2019. I started to really dive into that industry, and I had made it up in my mind, okay, this is what the Lord want me to do, so I'm gonna be a media personality. Okay, and so I started doing interviews, and I really just dove like deep into that industry. I started getting like freelance jobs where people like different media companies would reach out to me and want me to write articles for them, and I started getting paid for that. But this wasn't, I wasn't looking at this as like a real career path, something that I can do for the rest of my life. Because mind you, at that time, you only got paid like $100 per article, and maybe $50 per article. So it wasn't even that much, not enough to live off of. So once I started to see like the money and things like that, it was like, I know this ain't what the Lord want me to do for the rest of my life. I just know. At that time, as I am developing my skill set of really writing articles and just the gift of really tapping back into that, I started writing my first book. Am I still writing that book to this day? Yes. But I initiated that and I started writing my first book, which will be out, I want to say by faith, next year. Amen. But I started writing my book and I'm sitting up here like, I know how to do this, I know how to do that. But now the Lord is showing me that I can actually be an author. That's crazy. Like, who am I to be doing this, right? So I started writing my book. I got heavy into that industry. And then entrepreneurship really like kind of took off at that time. I created digital products. I got into the whole, developing my own website. I got a little bit into graphic design. I got into all of the skills that would allow me to be a solopreneur, right? So writing my own captions on my YouTube videos and my Instagram social media videos, writing my own sales pages, writing my own copy for my sales pages, writing just learning a bunch of entrepreneurship work. So 2020, I launched the Living in Pursuit podcast, and this podcast is literally still to this day really a mandate from God. This is something that he has given me to steward over, and I'm basically expanding it. This year I am expanding it. I am really diving into purpose, diving into career, diving into what it is that I am meant to do on this earth, and helping others discover that as well. The Living in Pursuit podcast not only captures a lot of my journey, but it also shows my relationship with God, the different phases and things that I went through as it pertains to developing my relationship with God. So this is where I got into social media management. I got into content creation. I started to learn how to edit videos and edit my podcast, the audios, and learning GarageBand and just learning all of these creative skills. I started learning how to do all of those things. And then I decided to create and open up another business, In Pursuit Media. So In Pursuit Media was basically my media publishing production company, which I would help other people, develop their strategies, but also film their content and manage their social media pages and things like that. I was helping out with websites as well. I was doing people's websites and everything like that. And it was hitting, not gonna lie, it was hitting a little bit, but again, I just knew this is not what the Lord wants me to do full time. This is not something that this is not what I'm going to be doing for the rest of my life. You know what I'm saying? At this point, I started to realize, okay, I'm good at a lot of things, but what am I destined to do? What is it that I really, really, really want to do on this earth? But at that time, even opening up this new business and having all of this zeal and excitement for it, once I got into it months, a year later, it was like, okay, I know that there's more. So what is that? I've done this, I've done that, and I'm still feeling unfulfilled. Lord, what you got for me? What's next? So around 2021, the Lord started showing me life coaching. I started getting exposed to the whole industry of coaching, and I was already doing that on my podcast, but I didn't have a language for it. I didn't have like a title for it. I didn't know what it was. So once I got exposed to that industry and realized that people take their knowledge, they take their experience, they create courses, they create programs, and they put it out there into the world for other people to learn from them and everything like that. And I was like, oh, is this a thing? So at that time, I developed my first coaching program, which is the 21-day discipline boot camp. Now, this was around 2021, 2022. After developing all of those skill sets and all of the things, I started getting more into purpose. I started to realize my spiritual gifts, teaching, prophesying, and all of these things in the Bible. And I started turning those skills and those gifts into a business, right? So not only am I doing this on a day-to-day basis already through my podcast, through my social media, which at the time, I believe my first TikTok account was at like 40,000 followers. And I'm doing this on a day-to-day basis. Why not put all of my knowledge, all of my experiences into a course or into a program? So I developed my first coaching program. I put it out there and I made my first $1,000. Won't he do it? So now at this time, I'm like, oh, I'm seeing a little bit of money here. Okay, I'm seeing a little, okay, this is working. Okay, this is kind of working. It's not, $100 here, $200 there. Like, I'm in the thousands now. So now let me just dive deeper into this. I developed my next program. I put it out there and it just didn't hit the way the first time did. And so now I'm confused. I'm like, I thought that this was, something that the Lord told me to do. I don't know why us Christians feel like just because God is telling us to do something, like it's going to be easy. It's just gonna hit. It's just gonna be like this all the time. We're just gonna have a winning streak over and over and over again. And for some reason, I fooled myself and tricked myself into believing that just because the Lord was calling me to this, that it was gonna be easy. And if it was hard, maybe he does not want me to do this anymore. So I'm literally just thinking to myself, oh, this is getting hard. Maybe God doesn't want me to do this anymore. And I led with this mindset. Throughout my whole career, I led with this mindset because it was like the moment something started to get hard or the moment a challenge came up, I equated that to, okay, maybe God doesn't want me to do this anymore, so let me go and try to pursue something else. Who said that? So, in that, when the challenge came up and I started to hit a wall with my finances, I went and got another job. I did not continue to pursue coaching. I did not continue to pursue my podcast. At this point, I was already 2 years into the podcasting space. So, I'm comparing myself to everybody. Well, I should have this amount of listens now. I should have this amount of followers now, or this and this and that. Just comparing myself, in my head, overthinking, not treating this as a career journey. I'm wanting a quick fix. I'm wanting something that I can just hurry up and figure out how to do so I can live off of that. I'm steady trying to rush the process, trying to get to that success, trying to really understand what it is that I'm meant to be on this earth, what it is that I'm meant to do on this earth. So I am leading with that insecurity in my career. I'm not allowing the Lord to lead me. I'm not allowing myself to figure out what it is that I wanted to do. Because mind you, at this time, I'm in my 30s. I'm living at home with my parents. I don't like my life right now. This has to work. And the moment it's not working, I'm on to the next. I'm on to the other thing. I'm not giving it no time. I'm not giving it any more effort. If it's not making me money and allowing me to get out of this situation, I gotta go. So I went and got another job, ended up leaving that job. I was just so over it. Ended up leaving that job. I probably was on that job for like 3-4 months. I was like, no, we're not doing this. So after that, I started working at my dad's nonprofit. He ended up getting a grant for $1.5 million. And in that, I basically was the project coordinator. I was the program coordinator. I was helping to bring the project goals to life. I was in charge of like the website. I created the website. I created all of the processes and all of like the technical data type of things. I created all of that within this project, and these were skill sets that I had, but it was also something that was becoming real to me in a sense. This is something that I've always been doing, but I'm noticing that I'm getting more and more into it, if that makes sense. So at that time, working at this nonprofit, doing this job, wearing this hat, wearing that hat, the Lord started showing me project management. Again, now we're getting into the nitty gritty of purpose. We're getting into the overall vision. Now I'm starting to build this vision for my life. God has given me like pieces to the puzzle, right? So now I'm sitting up here trying to put all of the pieces together and trying to make sense of it and trying to understand, okay, is this piece for that? Is that piece for this and this and this and that? But now he's starting to show me project management. So as he's showing me project management, I'm diving deep into YouTube, learning about the industry. Didn't even know project management was a thing. Here I am putting together my music projects, putting together my entrepreneurship projects, my this projects, all of the things. I'm already operating as a project manager, but now there's an industry that would pay me a hefty amount to do the work that I'm doing. So I ended up doing a whole bunch of research. I fixed up my resume a little bit, and I ended up getting a project coordinator job at a very prestige engineering company here in Baton Rouge. So your girl elevating, if you will. Now I'm looking at this as a career path. Now I'm getting a real sense of what I could be doing for the rest of my life. Now I'm getting a sense of how I can implement these project management skills into my business, into the overall vision. Now I have this understanding, oh, God is showing me this because this pertains to this puzzle of the vision. God is allowing me to have this type of job to develop this type of skill set in order to use for this business, my vision. As I'm working this job, God starts to expose me again. It's uncovering now. He's exposing me to data analytics, business processing, business analysts, the whole mentality of like analytical thinking as it pertains to these different types of industries, but as it pertains to business. So now I'm in a place where I'm still doing entrepreneurship, but now the Lord is showing me data analytics. I am currently in a data analytics course, and I'm about to finish. She's about to finish. Okay, she's about to graduate. Okay, she's about to get that certification, and she's about to move on up in the world. Amen. Amen. I am learning all things analytics, everything that has to do with data. And this is something that pertains to the overall big vision as well. But it also just opens up my eyes to another industry, the tech industry, right? So you got data analytics, you got business process management, you have all of these different types of jobs within this umbrella of the tech industry. And this is the industry that is paying very, very well. Okay, I left my last position as a project coordinator at, I want to say it was 55,000 a year. But now with my experience and with my certification that I am about to get, oh, we up there. Okay, we're getting up there. Okay, and it also helps me understand how to implement more of these skills into the overall vision for my business, Living in Pursuit. Last year was the year I decided to go full force into my music career. I dropped my first EP, my first R&B music project, Things I Never Said, which is available now, so y'all go listen to that. And I shared my whole journey of like the project management side, things that I did to bring that project alive. And I put that on my YouTube channel, so you can go back and look at all of my vlogs, the day in the lives and all of that. But this was the year that I really had like a budget for this project, going back to project management, really implementing my skills into real life scenarios. I was working with a budget and I broke that budget down and I said, I'm gonna pay for this with that, I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna do that. And I really used my music project as a scenario for me to grow my skill set, but to really live my dream. Y'all know, your girl was discouraged 16, 17 years old when that happened to me, right? At the studio with the guy. But now I'm doing things independently, and I'm learning the industry, the entertainment industry. I'm learning the business behind music. I'm learning about streams. I'm learning about, splits and all of these things, right? And so I say all of that to say, yes, I had a lot of jobs. Yes, I was all over the place at one point in my life. But now that the Lord is in my life and He is leading me and guiding me to where I need to be, now that He has uncovered my vision and given me a vision, given me the gift of having a vision and really pursuing that full time, I am on a mission to really help other people discover their vision and discover their gifts and their skill sets and their talents. I realized that most of the jobs that I had, even outside of what I shared with you today, most of the jobs that I had did not allow me to be creative. They did not allow me to grow. They did not expose me to the overall vision. They were just there so that I can pay my bills. They were just there to give me something to do. Yes, I developed my skill set along the journey, but most of the jobs that I had did not align with my purpose. They did not align with who I am. Even my entrepreneurship endeavors, some of those endeavors did not align with my identity. It didn't even align with my purpose or who I'm meant to be in Christ, who I'm meant to be as a woman, right? Who I'm meant to be as a vessel, right? Yes, I've had a lot of jobs, I've had a lot of experiences, but being able to navigate through my career journey and get to this point that I am now has helped me tremendously. I've learned so many things. I've developed so many skill sets that now I'm in a position where I can now get compensated for those skill sets. I can get compensated for my soft skills, emotional intelligence, life coaching programs, technical data analytics skills. I can get paid for that now. I'm not just doing something as a hustle. I'm not just doing something just because. Like, I'm on the right path now. And I really, truly believe that. And I'm so happy and grateful that I am finally on the right path. So now I am building Living in Pursuit from the ground up. I am revamping, doing a lot of things within my podcast too. I'm just taking the brand Living in Pursuit and I am just blowing it up. This year I am really focusing on blowing it up, but also I'm still seeking full-time opportunities within the tech industry as a data or a business analyst. So I am still developing those skills. I am, still actively seeking opportunities on that level as well. I am an advocate for doing both. If you got a business, you got a 9 to 5 and a 5 to 9, I'm an advocate for doing both. But making sure that what you are doing is aligned with your purpose, making sure that you're not wasting any more time in your career, making sure that you are on the right career path for your life. I know this video was long and strong, but I hope that this video was encouraging to you all. If you have any questions concerning my career journey, go ahead and leave it in the comments below. Let me know what your career path is. What do you do? What is your 9 to 5 or what is your 5 to 9? Let me know. Are you a creative? Are you a singer like me? You be singing to the girlies and the guysies, like, what's up? Let me know. I love you guys, and I will talk to you all in my next video. Bye. Oh, look at that peace sign. You could tell I'm a millennial. You could tell I'm a millennial, huh?